UAlbany, and I'm currently acting chair of the Elections Commission. I look forward to presiding over this election for your vice chair. This is my first time doing this, and I've never presided over Senate before, so I just ask that you all please be, please be very patient with me and work with me to make this successful. I won't know everything off the top of my head, I'll be totally frank, so I will need some patience so I can properly address any concerns or questions you have throughout the process. I want you all to elect your vice chair before the night is over, but we can't do that without being cordial and respectful of each other. So I just wanted to remind you that the same rules and guidelines that you ran with for your position apply here as well, in addition to all of the regular ethics guidelines you have to follow when conducting yourself here in Senate. I would really appreciate it if we can all be courteous and on our best behavior when asking questions, making debate points, and discussing candidates and their platforms. Focus on who is the best candidate for the job. Focus on policy points, not necessarily whether or not a senator is nice or not, what they do outside of their time in Senate. It's about who you think is the best person for the job. So I'll briefly go over the procedures for the election, and then we'll kind of get into it. So I will open up nominations for the vice chair position. You may self-nominate. All nominations need a second, and the nominee needs to agree to the nomination. Once nominations have closed, each candidate will have 2 minutes to give their opening statements that will be timed. After that, we will begin questioning, and we will start with questions directed at all candidates. And to begin, I'll start with questions submitted by SA leadership. Then each senator will have a chance to ask at least one question to all the candidates. Once we finish with general questions for all candidates, we'll move into specific questions for each individual candidate. So if you want to direct a question at one particular person, you may. Once that questioning has wrapped up, I will ask for a move into debate, and candidates will be asked to step out of the room. Senators will be allowed a maximum of 2 debate points, 5 minutes each during debate. Once debate is finished, I will ask for a move into a vote, and we will begin the first round of voting. As a reminder, the vice chair has to be elected with a 2/3 vote, but if we get through 2 rounds of voting with just 2 candidates, then the vice chair will only need to be elected by a simple majority. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So I will now open nominations for vice chair. Senator Goldsmith.
I would like to nominate UAlbany for vice chair.
Do we have a second for that nomination? Senator Kitt? Yes, Dylan Klein, do you accept? Senator Klein, do you accept your nomination? Awesome, come on up to the front of the room. Senator Cooper, is that a nomination for vice chair?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Senator Jeremy Zhang for vice chair.
Do we have a second for Senator Zhang? Senator Matapat? Is that a second? Yes, Senator Zhang, do you accept your nomination? Come on up to the front of the room. Senator Gardner, do you have a nomination?
Yes, I nominate Senator Jamil.
Senator Jamil, do you have a second? Senator Khan, is that a second? Yes, that's a second. Senator Khan?
Yes.
Okay. Senator Jamil, do you accept your nomination?
Yes.
Come on up to the front of the room. Senator Margillo, right? Do you have a nomination?
I would like to nominate Senator Wheeler.
Do we have a second for Senator Wheeler? Senator Johnson, is that a second?
Yes, it is.
Senator Wheeler, come on up. All right, do we have any more nominations for vice chair? All right, seeing no more nominations for vice chair, we will now go into the opening statement. So we will go in order of who was nominated. So we'll start with Senator Klein. Why don't you stand in order? Yeah, Senator Klein, and then Senator Zhang, Senator Wheeler, and then Senator Jamil. So Senator Klein, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement. Let's get him a microphone. Oh, here's one. Yes, you have a point of order, Senator Cooper?
Oh, they're doing it. Sydney was nominated after.
Wonderful. Sounds good. Thank you. All right, Senator Klein, when you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dylan Klein. I'm a senior majoring in political science and public policy, and this will be my 4th term here in the Senate. I'm running for vice chair because this body needs a vice chair that will hit the ground running on day 1. I believe that I have the experience with our governing documents and within leadership roles to serve effectively as your next vice chair. But enough about my resume. Who am I? What do I envision for the Senate if you were to elect me as your next vice chair? First, I want to know that when I lead with our constituents in mind. With that being said, I want to introduce ways for the Senate branch as a whole to become more interactive. In order to embody this mission of the Student Association and the Rose Crawford administration, I vow to assist everyone in and out of this room to help uplift the student voice. It is the essential quote in our Constitution. It is important that we make sure that we are upkeeping constant communication with the student body, whether that is through weekly updates, interactions through social media, and constant email interactions. Our role here is to be the voice for the voiceless. Nonetheless, there is nothing more important than creating a bridge between the administration, the directors, the Senate, and the student body. I would like to do this by implementing an anonymous drop box for student concerns, working with the university to push for community service events, and lastly, working with Senate to plan and organize critical events such as Meet the Senate events where we can decompress and create better relationships among everyone. Despite what you've heard about me, whether entirely true or not, I stand here tonight to confirm one thing. I am a stickler. When I see things that need change, I hit the ground running, and I do whatever I can in my power to help others. Being in Senate is something I have always held close to me, and with my experience, my passion, and the help of you guys, I promise to make the changes that are necessary for everyone's success.
That is 2 minutes, so you can finish up your thought and then we'll move on to the next candidate.
Okay. I'll be here throughout the entire term, organizing committees, working hand in hand with the Senate to learn and revise bylaws, and to ensure your success through new innovative training methods. Being your vice chair would be an honor, and I hope to serve you guys moving forward. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy Zane. I'm a sophomore majoring in political science and public policy. And today, I'm going to be your next vice chair. So about me, I'm a second-term senator. I first served as first year at-large senator, and this is my second term as senator at-large. And so one of the things that I've done as a senator is that I've chaired two committees. I've served as acting chair of the Constituent Relations Committee, and I served as the chair of the First Year Experience Subcommittee. And so I've done a lot of things. I set as First Year Experience Subcommittee chair, I set up programs for first year students, and as acting chair of Constituent Relations, I helped set up town halls for senators. And so today I'm running to be your next vice chair. Some of my goals and my plans include having a video games night on Fridays. I think that the Students Association is it's not supposed to be like serious and with tension. I want to make sure that we all as a senator can bond together and not fight over everything. So I'm going to do that through video games. Another thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to create a collaboration zone on our Student Association office through the long table that we currently have in the office. And also wanted to do, also want to make sure that that the Student Association voting records are transparent. I want to make sure to do that by.
That is 2 minutes, but you can finish your thought.
I want to do that by making sure that the voting records are public to the Student Association, and that's why I'm running for your vice chair.
Hi everyone. For those of you who don't already know me, my name is Sarah Jamil. I'm a junior this year. I'm majoring in political science and minoring in French, of course, to break up the politics. I'm very thrilled to announce that I'll be starting my third year in Senate by running to be your next vice chair. And let me talk, a little bit about myself. I am an off-campus student. I'm a commuter, and that has its own set of struggles. I'm also of Kashmiri descent, so I'm South Asian. I'm a woman, and I feel like those are characteristics that we need to see much more in our leadership this year. I believe that these characteristics are an asset, as they give me a very unique perspective to serve you as best as I can as your leader this year. So now let me go into some of the plans that I have for this year. I have coined the term of a collaboration convention. Now this would take place once a month, twice a month, as often as we see it fit. And the purpose of this would be to interact with your fellow senators, get to know one another, create better interpersonal relations, yet also be productive. Now we get one big Senate training, at the beginning of our term, and it can be quite overwhelming. I've had plenty of people come to me and tell me that it's very overwhelming. It's a lot of information. And so the point of these collaboration conventions would be to kind of step by step take you through everything that goes on in Senate, from bill drafting process to when you see bills for budgets. What are the kind of things that you want to look out for? What are the things you want to point out? And these would be a very kind of productive, learning, educating experience, which I feel like will solve a lot of the problems that we tend to encounter in Senate, where a lot of people are unsure on how to act. And this would just tell you, kind of guide you through on how to be a senator. Now, furthermore, I would like to implement Senate drop boxes, another term that I've coined. And the purpose of this would be to provide accessibility for students who aren't able to make it to Senate meetings, on 8 p.m. on a Wednesday, and provide kind of a better voice for our students and make sure that our senators are working on what the student body actually wants us to work on. I feel like I will do great as your leader, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the night.
Hello, everyone. I am Sidney Wheeler III. I am a senator at large, and I am a junior, majoring in political science and minoring in economics. So Senate type things are my mojo. Coming into Senate and specifically looking at the vice chair role, I think that there are 3 things to focus on. Those items being engagement, transparency, and accountability. Very simple to break down. Engagement, we are an organization that focuses on clubs and creating a better campus environment for students. So engagement. Transparency. Transparency, well, according to our bylaws, we are required to allow any student to see voting records, bylaws, and any of our governing documents. And has anyone here ever looked at the website? It's not worth it because none of that is updated. In fact, no bills have been uploaded since, I believe, a year ago today, and no voting records have ever been posted on the current page. So that's transparency, because the current state is very low. Accountability. All of us as senators, have jobs. We have to do those jobs, and we have to follow our rules within the body. Now, I don't expect any of you to do that unless you know how. So the trainings, of course, Chair McGrath has been great with the trainings thus far in the year, but I think it's important to create resources for you to use, such as step-by-step guides. I think that I have the plan and the ability to be a successful vice chair for you and to uplift your voice in this role. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidates. So we will now move into our first round of questions. These are questions that have to be directed to all candidates, so not specific ones yet, but I'm going to start with the questions from SA leadership. So the President, the Chief Justice, and the Comptroller and the Board of Finance are allowed to submit questions for this portion. I only have questions from the President and from the Comptroller, so I will start with the President and move on to the Comptroller, and then we will open it up to all senators. So we will start this time with Senator Zhang. You will be the first to answer this question, and we'll go in chronological order. So the first question is, all of you have gotten up here, prepared your plans to present to the Senate body. Can you please tell us how these plans are tangible and the steps you will take to achieve your goals and policy ideas?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that I want to do. Video game night is pretty simple to implement this, and a collaboration zone. I plan on having sort of a collaboration hours. So basically, I'll be like sending out emails to every senators and announcing those collaboration hours, and hopefully that everyone can come to these hours, and also like for me, I'm also wanting to do like the voting micro-transparency that I wanted to do. You know, I'm a hard worker. I'm going to make sure that it gets done, so I'm making sure that it gets posted on my involvement and making sure that it gets posted on UAlbany website, and there's two other things that I also plan on doing, and that is let's see, can't really think of it right now, but I know that I have the plans to make sure that it happens, and I know what I need to do.
Okay, thank you, Senator Zhang.
So I'm going to start with my collaboration conventions that I thought of. So essentially the point of this would be to interact with your fellow senators, but also to learn the ways of Senate, and not just in a book training sort of way. So the way we would do this is we would host it in our office, right? We'd have music, we'd have some catering, and I would send out polls, perhaps weekly or monthly, about what people think they need the most tips on or the most educating on. Again, this could be something such as bill drafting or something within your committee that you're confused about. So we'd send out these polls, and whatever is most popular that month or that week, or however often we need to have them, is what the collaboration convention would be about. So old senators, new senators, committee chairs, they would all come by, and we'd be giving each other tips and perhaps even having mock sessions on how to conduct, the ways of Senate. You could bring your drafted bills, and you could get kind of some critique on them, constructive criticism, or any other questions you have about Senate. And it would all be dependent on what, is of the highest popularity on the poll at that time. And this way, we would not only learn and be productive, but also you're collaborating with your fellow senators, because each of us are selected for a very unique group of people, right? And if we come here and we're working individually, that defeats the point of us being together working for the student body. So this collaboration would allow us to create a very comfortable environment with one another, where we get to know each other, we're friendly, we'll collaborate, and therefore represent the student body as a whole and not individually. Now, the second thing, the Senate Dropbox, right? So this would quite literally be a Dropbox outside of our office. We could decorate it, make it really cute with some pens and papers, and people, as they're walking by, would just write down anything that they're coming across that is an obstacle. So this could be something like parking, the parking lots are too far, or the parking is too expensive. They'd write it down, submit it in the Dropbox, and on a weekly basis, our senators would come by, pick out issues from the Dropbox, and work on them together with what resonates with them the most, and they feel they will be able to accomplish the best. They would work together on this, and this would also create an interpersonal relation between us senators and the student body that we are representing, ensuring that we are actually working on the things that they would like us to work on. The third thing, outreach. So we provide all of these amazing resources, right? But what is the point if the student body is unaware of them? So, as Director Caleb was really actively using the social media, which I absolutely love, I would like to implement a similar thing within the internal Senate. So what are the main functioning things within our internal Senate? Our committees, right? So for our committees, I was thinking of doing like a day in the life of the Rules Committee or something like that, and kind of going through what these committees do, what their purpose is, and this way people know what we actually do. They know that they elect us and that we're representing them, but they don't really know what exactly we're doing to represent them. So we would take them through kind of the days in our committee, show them what we're up to, and that way they'll be, we'll portray ourselves as a very inviting and comfortable environment, right? Not so much hostile, not so serious and stiff, but very inviting. And that way people will be more willing to interact with us. So yeah, that's my plan.
So I think that my goals are attainable in the sense that they have been done before. A majority of my goals are issues that have persisted within the last couple of years of Senate, and things that have happened in the past that we've simply been more relaxed about since over the years, forgot about them, neglected them, but it's things that's happened before. So the website, obviously it worked at one point, so we make it work now. That transparency is super important. Engagement, town halls. Last year there were some town halls that the only people that showed up to them were the friends of the senators that were running it. Now that's not okay. So we take something that has worked in the past and fix it. We post on social media about that. We table to get people there, whether that's tabling in the CC or tabling at the living area. Or if we've decided that that's long gone, then we should focus on making a larger one. We should make a forum in here. Last year there were protests and we had a forum inside this very room with the entire Senate. If our town halls aren't working, then we combine them and create a better system. I think that all of my goals are ones that have been attained in the past, that every single one of us has the capability of getting done if we work together. It's just about taking those items, looking at how they worked, comparing that to the current climate of campus, and creating a system that is functioning, catching up, putting in the hard work to cover the efforts that were not put in the last couple of years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
So this is a very good question posed by the president. When it comes to our bylaws, I mentioned as one of my points that our bylaws are outdated and frequently contradict each other. With that as a solution, we can form a committee, a special committee to address these concerns. My idea for this would for it to be a multi-branch committee. That way we have input from the executive, we have input from the judicial, we have input from the finance branch, as well as input from the Senate branch. Now, when it comes to transparency, Senator Wheeler is right. Voting records haven't been posted in nearly 2 years, and that is the fault of Student Association for not making these documents public. I want to introduce a new method to make these documents public. We already have a wonderful voting spreadsheet that was prepared by our chair. Why don't we just export that right to the website? Why don't we go ahead and maybe find a new way to post our bills? We have many options at hand, but as of right now, building on the foundation that we have with the SA website is important. Maybe we also need to evaluate if we need a new method of communication. And communication is very important because our constituents, as Senator Wheeler mentioned, aren't showing up to our town halls. And that's partially on us. A lot of it is actually on us because we aren't actually directly going to constituents. I remember Vice Chairman Osley proposed to this very body years ago that we as senators would show up to classrooms 3 times, at least 3 times a semester, to advertise what Student Association did, what the different branches were, and how to reach out to us if they had concerns. We as a body have failed to actually reach the student where they are, our constituents. And that is a failure of us that we need to change. And if I am vice chair, I can assure you we're going to have way, way more opportunities to engage with our constituents. Finally, when it comes to training, it has been a promise of vice chair candidates for years that they are going to train senators. Well, I'm going to make a pledge here to you tonight. If I am elected vice chair, next week we will have a training. And every week after that, if we need to train on a specific portion, whether it be bill writing, whether it be Robert's Rules of Order, whether it be bylaws, whether it be our Constitution, we will be in this room, and I would be more than happy to assist and train you guys on those issues. I believe that I have had the experience in my 3 previous terms to know Robert's Rules of Order like the back of my hand. That book over there is extremely worn, and that's because I've opened it and closed it countless times to read it. And that is an important book right there, and I will effectively use it to make sure that our bylaws are clear and concise and not in conflict with that document and not in conflict with our Constitution.
Thank you, Senator Klein. Point of personal privilege from Senator Rath. Say that again. Thank you. All right. Second question from President Rose. Can you walk through, so we'll start with Senator Jamil this time. Can you walk through your relevant leadership experience and how the Senate body can benefit from somebody with your leadership style?
Yes. So outside of Senate, I'm actually part of mock trial. I started as a lowly club team member, went up the ranks to judges coordinator, working with various different legal individuals, then snagged a spot as vice president, and I am now the president of mock trial. And this has given me a lot of experience in leadership, and not only like as the top of, as a president, but also the various different levels of an e-board and what it takes for a whole body to function effectively. Now within Senate, I started just as an off-campus senator, as I've always been. Last year, I was the chair of the ethics committee, which was really, really fun. I learned a lot about the bylaws, and I learned that a lot of the bylaws, they can be written, right? They're written and you think they would work, but when you try to apply them to actual cases, they're unapplicable. And so this experience has taught me what kinds of things need to be changed and amended within Senate for us to work as efficiently as possible. Now with mock trial, I have the experience of a leader and what it takes to lead people to make change, implement change. And with my experience as ethics chair, I've learned what exactly needs to be changed within Senate specifically. So I would actually like to implement an ethics, bylaw overhaul and change them to be more applicable case by case. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with specifically the ethics bylaws, they're the 700 section of our bylaws. And they tell you how to deal with receiving a complaint, how to investigate a complaint, what kinds of violations to issues, and under what circumstances you issue violations. And having dealt with about, I believe, 5 to 6 violations, we found that a lot of the bylaws were unapplicable. There were plenty of situations where the bylaws were useless. So with that experience, I know now what exactly needs to be changed in order for us to function as effectively and efficiently as possible internally within Senate.
So I do believe that I am experienced enough to be in the vice chair position. I am, outside of Senate, I am heavily involved in a few clubs, including Model European Union. Throughout high school, I was also involved in multiple Robert's Rules of Order using clubs. So not only Model U, but also those, as well as over the summers, I have functioned as the youth lead and coordinator for multiple week-long trainings, week-long camp-style trainings. So what those look like is I'm in charge of 4 camps across the nation, in Washington, D.C., West Virginia, St. Louis, Missouri, and Sacramento, California. And I have helped lead around 100 youth in staffing those trainings. And those trainings actually focus on teaching and feedback giving. So not only am I good at teaching, specifically in the training sense, but I'm good at accepting and giving constructive feedback. Not feedback that tells you what you're doing wrong, but that tells you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and how you can fix that. Most importantly, how you can fix that. In any situation, feedback is a gift, right? I want feedback from you in this position, and I want to be able to give feedback to you. We should be in a receptive environment here where we can be constructive with that. So I think that running that camp and running around, I think we had around 200 plus participants just in the last couple years. So I'm not new to coordinating groups, communicating well, and overall functioning in a role of leadership. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've already mentioned 4 terms here, but outside of this body, I've served as the Director of Government Relations for the SUNY Student Assembly, in that position, I helped negotiate the, probably hands down, and this is biased, the best higher education budget to come out of New York State in decades. And additionally, top of SUNY, I've done numerous campaigns. I was a volunteer coordinator for Biden for Florida. I have a unique little bit of a leadership perspective in my current full-time job, where I am currently an assistant manager that oversees not just a whole store, but also pharmacy operations. If you guys know anything about pharmaceuticals and pharmacy operations, or have even went to a pharmacy, you guys know it's a headache. I'm trying to think. I've done a lot. I helped co-found the University of Albany Chess Association 2 years back with a couple of my friends. Was president of the University of Albany Golf Club for a semester. Many student groups that are kind of escaping me right now because I've been part of many. So with that, I'll yield. Or not. Do you need me to stall?
I'm going to put everyone at ease for just 1 second.
So how's everyone's night going? Wonderful weather we're having lately. So me and Sydney walk into a bar.
That's not my jurisdiction.
I'll be so impressed to be like, oh, can I ask you why you said this?
That's why I'm sitting right there.
Please? Can I get
All right, I'll bring it back. Thank you, everyone.
I was going to move for a 5-minute recess.
5-minute recess?
5 minutes.
Okay, we have a move for a 5-minute recess. Do we have a second? Senator Kate, is that a second? Do we have any objections? No? Okay, we'll move into a 5-minute recess.
I'm working real hard over here and I hate it. I know, but it's so hard to find the cheapest shit.
I know you already.
Oh, you already? How are you?
Okay. I'm not going to talk to you less. It's beautiful.
That's a scare tactic.
Yeah, I'll talk to you. Maybe.
Oh, sorry. I keep calling him Jack franchise. So, God, he knows me so well.
Yeah.
One's better than zero. I'm not exactly sure, but all of our really great public stations. It's been really nice watching. I like the hand motions so much.
Alright, we are going to return from our 5-minute recess. So if you could all take your seats, we'll wait for the rest of the senators to come back inside. Okay, is there a second to that move? Senator Cooper, the second? All right, we're back into a 3-minute recess.
I think you thought that.
Well, we've all had a little experience. Things. That's why immediately when you see
All right, we are going to return from our 3-minute recess. So if you could all grab your seats.
I'm gonna do this. Alright, time. Hey, Senator Cooper.
no. That means she's in there.
Jason's in it. No. What is he doing? Is he moving?
Hey, Jason.
You gotta do it.
But you can't do it to people up here.
Jason didn't do it.
You did it yesterday.
That was my first and last time participating in any lounge
It's
party.
really fun.
I don't even get to hear his move.
All right, I'm so sorry. We're going to stand at ease for the moment. I will come back in very soon and we will continue. I apologize.
I didn't hear it.
Just get him again.
Like, I need a rewind. I need a rewind. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. If there were no witnesses to it, it didn't happen.
Amazing.
You better move. Move.
He just did it.
No, do it again. I didn't see
I
it.
just no.
I'm
Jason, you have to do it.
You don't want to, but you should.
I mean, when Tanaya decides to do it, oh, this like, I think so. Yeah. When they have to do it.
You should do it. You can make it a whole essay.
I'm like so out of it. I've just been like trying to finish this.
It's really It's really good. Maybe you'll see us do it.
Yeah, maybe you'll see.
Hey, Sean.
You did it on like the bridge. I don't know if it was all. I did not. Come over here.
How you doing? Great. Amazing. Is this on? No, I was just I thought this you can teach it. Are you proud of Sydney? Look at this. He's killing it, right? Ooh, I don't know. That's fine. I don't know if I can. Okay, tell me later. I feel like.
Wow.
I don't think I should. I don't think I should. Look, I think everyone should. Afterwards. Yeah. Oh, is this like a good luck start?
inspired me to be so like stylish. What are they called? Suspenders? Yeah. I actually also have suspenders, but I've never worn them. I love these. I don't need a belt. Yeah, I wear a belt. Maybe. I don't think so. Maybe take it off one day. Yeah, maybe throw a wrench in there. I would have shorts. Yeah. That's cool. I guess I'll see. I need to take some fashion. Now that you're an MU, you can like fashion. If I'm smart. I think we'll do good. I don't know. I don't know if I'll actually go somewhere. When I was a freshman, I knew nothing about the like nothing about the history of the debate. I just went in. My biggest thing, and I talked about this a little bit at the end, just like being super engaged. That's why I felt like everything about it was so much. I still am not like the best debater. I think a lot to say. Good luck. You as well.
It's a vape for a second. I think it's a portable charge. Can I just say, you're amazing. Thank you. You're so cool. Thank you. I try to be. I thought it was as much energy as absolutely. I've done it. Great. It was great on camera. It's a great day. It's fantastic. Big hair right now. Hi.
Oh, hey. Hey guys, I'm running for vice chair.
Oh, wait, a little bit lower. Just shoulders.
Hey guys.
Yes, there you go. I know it's safe.
All right, guys. So sorry. Thank you for your patience. Let's bring it back. All right, so unfortunately, Senator Zhang did decide to drop out of the race due to some personal issues. But we will continue on with the process. I believe we had left off with the last question from the SA president, if I'm not mistaken. So we will start with, I think, Senator Wheeler. For the second question, right? Yeah, so the third question from the SA president. We'll start with Senator Wheeler. The last question is, excuse me, I'm a little out of breath. What do you believe should be the relationship between the chair and the vice chair?
Well, what should be the relationship between the chair and vice chair? Well, I think simply put, according to the bylaws, the vice chair's role is entirely to assist the chair, assist the chair with their duties, as well as filling in for them when it is needed. So the chair and the vice chair need to be intertwined. You have to have a good relationship, and you have to be able to work together well, because every project that goes through is between the two of them. So as vice chair, I believe that I have a decent enough relationship with the chair, and I feel confident in the fact that I am willing to work with them and stand up to them when I need them. So if we're in a situation where I don't think that the chair is doing things in the correct manner, I feel comfortable giving that feedback. I feel comfortable standing up for all of you, but I also feel that a decent relationship must be maintained in order for work to get done within this body. And I believe that I, as a candidate, and am fully capable of that. Yeah.
Yes, sure. So the question was, give me 1 second, what do you believe should be the relationship between the chair and the vice chair?
So the relationship between the chair and the vice chair is an important one that sets a tone for the entire year. I believe that the relationship between the chair and vice chair, philosophically, should be professional, but also should be in a way to, as Senator Wheeler said, assist in the duties. Now, when assisting in the duties, that also means doing stuff that is prescribed to you under your vice chair bylaws. It's also about helping other senators and other committees in making sure that they are running smoothly. So the vice chair should have a professional relationship with the chair, but should also be there in a manner to make sure that they are assisting the chair, make sure that they are being of help to not just the chair, but also the body and our constituents at large.
I believe that the relationship between the chair and the vice chair should be one that is complementary. It shouldn't be the vice chair is just a second chair, but they complement the chair's abilities. I believe that I would complement our chair very well, as our chair is great at providing resources and ensuring senators have what they need to facilitate change. And I believe that I would complement that in providing and facilitating the interpersonal connections that are vital for a body to function as efficiently as possible. So the vice chair is responsible for the internal operations, and I would excel at that. And I would do this by ensuring that all our senators are familiar with one another, they work well together, and direct them to the chair when necessary, and also step up for the chair when needed. And I believe in maintaining this complementary relationship, you're maintaining a relationship between a chair and a vice chair that is most efficient, and not just kind of, I guess, replicating one another's abilities, but contributing abilities that the other doesn't have to provide the most efficient leadership.
So that concludes questions from the President Rose. We're going to move on to questions from Comptroller Alessandro. So we'll start with Senator Klein, I believe, this time. The first question is, Senate leaders have the opportunity to invite important members from the community and university to speak at our meetings. Do you plan to invite any individuals, and how do you plan to notify the larger student body that these dialogues are taking place?
110%. So just an example, some people that I do want to bring in is members of the Albany Common Council. Last year, we only had one member of the Albany Common Council show up to our meeting and take only like 3 or 4 questions on the fact that students are getting shot at downtown and that people are waking up to bodies in front of their doorway that are up there, that are in front of them for 6 hours. So I would ensure that we're having members of the Albany Common Council, members of the Albany Police Department as it comes to off-campus safety. But when it comes to our university, I also want to see the Vice President of Student Affairs in here at least once a month. It has been a problem that we have frequently seen our Vice President of Student Affairs only show up maybe once or twice a semester. I want to see him in here once a month, giving us an update on what he's doing to help us out as the Vice President of Student Affairs. I also want to see members of the Facilities Department come in. They've only come in once in the past 2 years. I want to see members from the Transportation Department coming in because we have off-campus students that have issues with travel and busing that need to be solved and are going ignored. One other group of people I do want to bring in is the members of the SUNY Student Assembly, either executive board or their directors. because I believe that they serve an important role in furthering advocacy outside of this body at the state level. As I mentioned earlier, I was Director of Government Relations for SUNY ESA, so I know firsthand what those positions can do to empower the student voice, and that is what Student Association is about, empowering the student voice. So I would love to bring them in, have them do a presentation on what SUNY ESA is, how people can get involved, and also what they're doing to assist us, especially come budget season.
Thank you, Senator Klein.
First and foremost, as Senator Klein reiterated, I would ask our Vice President of Student Affairs, Michael Christakis, to come in often and update us about the progress of our bills. So the legislation that we are passing in this body, where does it go after we pass it? What's the progress? How's it looking? And how is it being implemented? For those reasons, I would make sure that the Vice President is here to give us those updates. But also, I served as a welcome leader this year before school started. And as a part of our job, we had to do this thing where we facilitated rooms of service. So the United Nations has a set of goals that they set for the betterment of our societies, right? And for these rooms of services, we had to conduct various different activities with the new freshmen to get them involved in our community. Me personally, I was working with an amazing organization within Albany. They're called RISE, and they help refugees, they help students. It's a volunteer-basis thing where many people from UAlbany actually volunteer. They go there, help students learn, donate clothing, various different things for the betterment of our community. And so I would like to implement individuals from within Albany in order to increase the amount of community service that we do as senators. Now that is one of our requirements, right? As senators, you have to do a couple hours of community service, but I don't think it should be something where you feel it's an obligation, or you feel that it's a requirement, or it's a burden. Having these leaders come in from various different organizations around Albany, it is likely that you will find something that resonates with you, whether it's helping refugees or helping children learn languages or various different things that correlate with the United Nations goals to better the society. So I would have these leaders come in, speak about their organizations, and facilitate greater community involvement within our Senate body.
Thank you, Senator Jamil. Senator Lewis.
So I think that looking onto last year at least, a lot of the times that we had visitors, it was reactive visiting. We need to be proactive this year in inviting the leaders of UAlbany, such as Christakis, but also we need to invite different areas. We had visitors from the library when they wanted our feedback. Well, we should invite them before that to give our feedback, before they need it. We need to be proactive. When we have protests happen, and we invite this person or that person to tell us why this happened. Well, we should set expectations ahead of time. We invite those people ahead of time, people like university police, and we set our expectations with them. All of us hold them to a certain standard, and they need to know that. Just seeing it on the press or just seeing the minutes that are posted, I think that they don't get it. And we need to be proactive with it. We need to invite organizations. We need to invite the leaders of UAlbany, and we need to tell them how we feel, so that they can prevent the mistakes that we ask them to come in and react to. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Wheeler. So we will move on to the second question from the comptroller. Everyone answered that question, right? Yeah, okay. This time we will start with Senator Jamil. The second question is, certain Senate races routinely see limited engagement levels. How do you plan to increase voter participation in these areas and across the board?
So I would increase voter engagement by, first of all, really making greater use of our social media. So the executive branch has already seen a lot of improvement within their engagement and within students on campus finding out about Senate simply through, I guess, efficient social media usage. So I would do the same for us and for all of our races. I would really promote the elections, promote what exactly it means to be elected, how to be involved, what kind of changes you can make, kind of make a list of the greater changes that our body has made. And through our social media, I guess I would make these polls. Further, I would like to do more active kind of popping into classrooms. A lot of us are, obviously have classes that we go to, and within those classes, we could do things like handing out flyers or having people scan QR codes and just, overall better engagement through very simple things such as social media and informing those around us in our classes, our friends that we hang out with. So I think better, greater communication through simple methods. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. Simple methods that reach people the most. We know in our generation, social media is something that it has the most reach. So using that, I would promote much greater voter engagement.
The first step in fixing voter engagement is to identify the issue. The issue right now is that students do not know what essay is. Students do not care what essay is, dare I say. And the only way to get to them is to directly tell them. What's worked for elections is door knocking, tabling. What's worked for elections is social media. We need to take all of these things and combine them and do it ourselves. We should not rely on the candidates to be the ones that get the voters to come out. When I'm running for office, I shouldn't have to knock on every door in the building for one person to vote. By tabling, not only the CC, like I said, around campus, by walking around the podium and handing out voter cards, not ones that say to vote for me, but ones that say to vote. We need to work with our directors. We have directors that have this exact job. So we need to work with them, all of us as a Senate, and take this into our own hands, fix the issues at their root, and build them up from the ground. Yeah, thank you.
So, when it comes to voter turnout, we have struggled over the past few years, especially because of COVID. I remember distinctly when the student activity fee referendum almost failed by, I believe it was 0.6 of a percentage vote. It almost failed by because people did not turn out to vote. It almost happened again last year because people didn't turn out to vote. And I think the issue we have at hand is we aren't, again, reaching our constituents where they are. One example of a way that we can increase voter turnout: set up public polling places. Maybe that's something we have to change through our bylaws, maybe. I'm more than happy to introduce that. Now, we have a wonderful marketing director who has been killing it on the SA Instagram, and a wonderful director of civic action who has also been killing it in his role. Civic and community engagement, sorry. We have resources at hand to be able to increase voter turnout. But again, it doesn't just come down to tabling. It doesn't just come down to candidates knocking on a door to get one person to vote on Dutch Quad Tower. It comes down to actually engaging the people where they are. Not just telling them that we have opportunities for you to vote, but also telling them that we have opportunities for you to serve. I can't remember the last time that Liberty and Freedom, both seats, were filled at the same time. I can't remember the last time that happened. I can't remember the last time we had a full Senate body that did not have a resignation at least 3 weeks into the term. So it's about making sure we are reaching the people where they are, but also engaging them and telling them, listen, these are the opportunities you have. You can go ahead and write out a nomination form right now. Maybe we also set up a way for candidates to directly go into the SA office or to go into a designated spot to be able to submit a self-nomination form and learn more about what SA has to offer. Because it really is important that we are reaching out to every single student on this campus. And if we're not doing that, we're failing our constituents and we're failing in our roles as senators.
Thank you very much. So that concludes questions from the comptroller. There were only 2. We are now going to open it up to questions from senators. Again, these are questions directed at all candidates, not specific. If you have a question, please raise your hand, put your card up. I will make a note of your name, and we're going to go around the room clockwise. Once we cover everybody who's raised their hand the first time, I'll ask again if there's more questions, and we'll go back around. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to start with Senator Tibbetts.
Okay.
Somewhere, you can find it. Senator Tibbetts. I'll go to Senator McGrath. Did I miss anybody between Senator Mataporov and Senator Cachuanga? We have Senator Ventura. We have Goldsmith. Thank you. And okay. So we will start with Senator Tibbetts. You may ask your question if you have a mic. Do you have a mic?
I do.
Oh, point of information. Oh, okay. I will add you down to the list. All right. Anybody else who wants to ask a question in this first round? All right. Senator Tibbetts, go ahead and ask your question.
I'd like each of you to tell us what you consider, in one word, to be your most important personal characteristic.
Good question, Fred.
Senator Wheeler, go ahead.
Give me a moment here. I think that this word's hyphenated. Hardworking.
Senator Klein is the next in line, right? Yes.
Determined.
Optimistic.
Senator McGrath.
That's right. Okay. For me, one of the biggest faults that I find with people and people's plans for when they're running for office is the differentiation between your ability to get these plans done as a regular senator or as the vice chair. I want to know why each of you need to be the vice chair in order to implement the plans that you have.
That's a very good question, and I wouldn't say that need is the correct word. I would say that it boosts the ability to get it done, to get my goals and priorities done. And to use the word need, some of my priorities and goals